Alright, we're here. Welcome back to another Mask Momentum video. Today we're looking at the finals of calling Memphis here. We got Brody Spurlock on the left, and we got Nicholas, I'm not going to butcher your last name, on the right. Got Brody on, choosing to go first, attacks with a 0 for 3, and there's an attack with a 0 for 4 here. So deal 1 damage to Nicholas on turn 0. Is going to attack with another 0 for 3, going to make that fealty token. Is going to throw a kunai at his opponents and then get it back, presumably, with the Cindra activation. Ooh, and it's going to get no resource, but is going to attack with that breaking point and then block 3 here. Nicholas using that Kindle for an additional effect has the mask momentum here to draw that card and then get an arsenal still, and did 4 damage to the Kano opponent on turn 0. Kano usually trying to do some shenanigans on turn 0 as well in this matchup, but what you need to do is just fully attack them from the Cindra side. Actually got to leak a lot of damage through because he had the 0/0/0 into 5. They're talking about mask momentum here. Going to use a blue to look at Kano. Nicholas thinking here. So banish a blazing here, and then hits a snapback as well. So going to use Crucible here, and then snapback for 4. Then you can blazing for 4 as well. Something that is going to happen in this match that might not be noticed already is this is a barn burner of a game. It is nowhere. There's very limited blocks that the Cindra can do. Kano is basically the only hero in this matchup that can block anything. Cindra just has AB1. It's completely a redline version of the deck. It's not like he's going to pitch a lot. Has Spell Void 1 on the boots. Really respecting Kano in this situation here. Nicholas actually has Snapback in his deck, which is not a Giga include in a lot of games, but it is uniquely pretty good. It's pretty good in the mirror, in the Kano mirror. I actually played Nicholas in day 1 of this calling here, did beat him in the Kano mirror. Now we're coming into the finals. Nicholas having a bit better than showing than me. I just top 32, but Nicholas in the finals with Kano, which is not something a lot of people can say. Doesn't happen too often. Usually Kano is not usually a deck that makes the finals very often. It has to have a very specific metagame, but there's been a couple of calling victories with him. If the meta is correct, he does some insane things. Almost on his way out, has 700 plus points currently. Would be pretty cool to see if he does actually LL in the next year or two. If the certain metas come out. Haven't really gotten many good Kano cards recently. It's so hard to give Wizards cards that will break them. Brody really thinking on the snapback here for 4. Something that you got to think about, if this snapback hits for 4, then the blazing is going to come in for 4. That's 8 damage. But if you AB ones here, the snapback only hits for 3. The blazing comes in for 3. That's going to be 6 damage. So 1 red is basically blocking 2 damage in this situation. And Nicholas still has his action point left with 1 floating. So 4 is hit. There's no blazing again for 4. It's going to hit 8. And then it's going to put a potion, a deja vu onto the field here. So good 8 damage on Nicholas' first turn, and he develops a potion, a deja vu. Brody is going to keep his full 5-card hand. This is obviously a release weekend. Not everybody has read all these cards. Oath of Loyalty here from Brody's side. This is going to be a 0 for 4. Can only play Draconic cards, this chain link, but does have a fealty to get around that clause. Both Brand and the fealty tokens get around the Oath Loyalty clause, which is really cool that you can play all these cards. Nicholas looks like he has Spindle, E-Pot, and another blue in his hand after blocking with a blue. Brody thinking about what he can do here. Attacks for 3. This would be a 0 for 3. If it hits, you can throw the dagger. Nicholas is going to block this. So the first chain link has hit. Brody presumably is going to flick knives to make this the second chain link to hit this turn, even though his opponent blocked 3. That flick knives mask momentum still very strong. What else do we see from Brody this turn? It's going to be a brand with Cindra for 2. So Nicholas is going to block it. And then we have a lava burst at the end of the chain. There's going to be 5 damage here. He's going to go to 19 and get back that kunai and arsenal that last card in his hand. We know Nicholas just has an E-Pot, which is presumably going to play this turn as well. Has no arsenal yet, so really not thinking too much about getting comboed. We see Aether, Wildfire, also an Ivaphidia, and 2 other cards here. Maybe if you really can, Nicholas really wants to keep... Oh, and he has a Lesson Lava as well. So if you can, you could go Lesson. This is one of the times where your opponent's at 32, you're at 19. You can block maybe with 1 card, hopefully not die. Arsenal the Aether Wildfire. Maybe send the Lesson and Lava on your own turn. But he has double blue Lesson Wildfire. Sometimes it is correct to go Lesson, Lesson, get the 3rd Lesson out of your deck. Arsenal the Wildfire. You know you have Potion of Deja Vu and E-Pot. So that's way more of an aggressive play because you're presumably going to be super low if you do that. But you're going to do 4 and then 3 with the lessons. But you know your opponent can pitch to it if possible. But you get your opponent sub 30, and they can only AB1, Spell Void 1, the Wildfire when it comes in. Presumably, hopefully for 6, if you can. But Nicholas has a tough decision here. He has 2 blocking cards, a Wildfire, and an Eye of Ophidia. He's going to take the first 3, go to 16. Rising Resentment is going to be that second one. Is going to be 4 with Go again, because of that first hedge up using the next thing +1. Offering up that breakpoint. Nicholas really can't afford. The Rising Resentment does have an on hit, but doesn't really have the blocking tools. So to take the 4 here, going down to 8. This matchup goes really fast. Have another Blaze Headlong is going to be a 0 for 4 here. On hit, draw a card off Mask Momentum. But even if he blocks this one, you can flick knives and make this one hit. Now we have Wildfire Lesson, double blue. We have an E-Pot. We have a Potion of Deja Vu here. Usually you cannot go for it without an arsenal. But this is unique. Nicholas, think about double blocking. Even if he double blocks here, you're just going to get flick knives, and then any other attack coming through is going to draw that additional card. But he's getting super low. But he has another 0 for 3 in his hand. He's going to draw. Oh, a Wrath here from Brody. So allow him to swing with the kunai here for 2 as well. But he needs to play 1 more Draconic Chain Link, because the first one is a Ninja card. So you need 1 more Chain Link for that Wrath to be free here. So Brody's thinking about this a little bit. He can't play this card yet. That costs 1. It costs 1 less for each Draconic Chain Link controller. He cannot play this card. Oh, takes it back. Realizes here on the chain. Can't do that. Did have a Ninja, not a Draconic, but he has another head jab in his hand. He's just sending the head jab. He's already drawn with the Mask Momentum. He's trying to get his opponent even lower. 0 for 3. Nicholas blocks here. He's at 8. His opponent showed him the Wrath, so he knows this is going to be 3-3-2. So has to block something on this turn, and he has obviously another card in his hand from Brody. So he has to at least block with this card. on either this first thing, maybe a next thing, like the Wrath. And then can go another Kunai. So take this 3, go to 5. Now he can play the Wrath. Is going to come in for another 3 here. Ooh, something I think Brody missed here is he should have flicked on the 0 for 3 to gain a resource with the Vest, and then came in with Wrath, and then rebought the daggers with Cindra on this turn. Because then he can attack with this Wrath, attack with the second Kunai, so he's flicked it for 1, put his opponent to 1, and got the resource, and then attacked with the Kunai because the Wrath will make it free, so attack for 2. So this Kunai is still lethal, but his opponent's at 1. But then he has 1 resource, and then he can attack when his opponent blocks. He has to block this Kunai. His opponent then has to double block the 1 for 5 in his hand, but he missed it on this turn. He didn't flick it, so he doesn't get the resource. So this is just going to come in for 2. But he cannot, unless this hits, he can't get a resource. But his opponent's at 2. He has to block it, so he's never going to get the resource. So this is not bad from Nicholas' side. Brody, he basically has to bet that this is a 1 cost from Brody, and Brody messed up on this chain link. He missed sequence. He needed to flick. It's not very obvious. Don't get me wrong. It's also release weekend. He needed to flick on the 0 for 3 and then get it back. 0 for 3, getting a resource, coming with Wrath, get the dagger back. Interesting here. Nicholas needs to block with at least 1 card here to not die. Then in the best situation, gets to keep Lesson and the Wildfire in his hand. Moves the potions down because of all the chain links on there. There's 6 cards on the chain link currently from Brody's side. Brody thinking, realizing the mess up here. Could have put his opponent to 1, could have got an extra resource, could have come in for 1 for 5 here. His opponent would have had to double block with the Wildfire and the Lesson in Lava and would have secured the game 100% because he would have took that double block from his opponent. Opponent can't combo on 3 cards, especially without an arsenal. Is just going to close the chain. Brody presumably is just going to Arsenal and draw up. We have the Ivophidia pitching to Crucible, is going to opt to, looks like a Kindle and a Floodgates here. His opponent thinking Nicholas going through the lines. Looks like it's a yellow Floodgates and a Kindle. So leave both of them on top, and then there's another Lesson for 4 here. See if Brody is going to pitch for this or not. Here's the thing. Nicholas is basically saying, I'm going to come in with Lesson level for 4. No matter what you're going to do, I'm going to get Aether Wildfire. This Arsenal may be another combo piece. The Arsenal could be another combo piece. Could be really anything, right? But he gave Nicholas a chance to win this game because he didn't flick earlier, getting the resource, and then ending on that 1 for 5. That would have just left Nicholas stranded with an Ivophidia in hand, which does nothing. He can't Arsenal that. Is going to take the 4 to 28. Nicholas thinking. He has... I think we've blocked... Maybe with a Lesson in Lava. Maybe that was the quarterfinal games that I watched earlier. But could search another Lesson in Lava and go with the OG combo line. But here's the thing with the OG combo line. Is that it won't be enough because of the AB1 and Spellblade 1 from Brody's side. Because also, now he's asking at the Lesson in Lava if he cannot search. You cannot search. You can choose to not search with Lesson in Lava. That is something that you can choose to do. Look at the beautiful faces of our casters here. I'm going to skip through this here while we're waiting here. Trying to get to the play when they tell him. You can choose not to search with Lesson of Lava. I think Nicholas is going through it, seeing if he even wants to. Ooh, looks like he is going to search through his deck here. See what Nicholas puts on top. Okay, he's going to put the Blazing on top. He's going to put the Blazing on top of his deck. This makes it so you don't have to search it. You 100% are going to get it. The Lesson of Lava is also another good choice, but you would have to have a middle spell. You would have to Wildfire, Lessons, middle spell, and Blazing. But this is going to get the Blazing Aether. There's a couple outs for just a triple spell, but most likely it has to double spell in the middle between the Wildfire and the Blazing. Looks like we have a red. This is going to be 4. Okay. Looks like we have Kindle, Blazing, Spindle, Blue. This is super, super close here. Let's do some math here. Wildfire costs 2. Multiple Kano activations need to happen on this turn. We have a Deja Vu and we have an Epot. We can secure a blue from Ragamuffin's hat with the Potion of Deja Vu. We have to draw with this Kindle, and we have to put the Blazing on top, basically. Nicholas in a very, very particular place to be right now. Thing he needs to do, most likely, very, very unique sequencing with Kindle and needing to put a card on top with Ragamuffin's hat. Basically, what Nicholas needs to do is he needs to pitch the red card in his hand and the blue card, but he has to make a choice. Does he think the top card of his deck is a damage spell or a blue? Basically, he needs a 0 for 1 because everything is pretty expensive to pay for. He can put the Spindle on top. That's something you can do, but you have triple red in your hand. You need to hit a blue off the Kindle, and you need to hit a blue off the Ragamuffin's hat. We can only secure 1 blue with the Deja Vu because we have the blue in hand, so you can't secure double blue. You can only secure 1. So at one point in this turn, Nicholas needs to hope that the card he draws off of either Kindle or Ragamuffin's hat, the blind draw is a blue. And that's what the game is probably going to come down to, because he has Aether Wildfire, but needs to double spell before the Blaze. He has Wildfire, he has Blazing, but he needs to have 2 spells in the middle, because Brody has 3 cards in his hand, so he can AB1 and use the Spell Void. And he's going to be able to AB1 the next spell and the Blazing, most likely, right? So we're going to have 4 prevention in this turn. We do have a Kindle here as well, so the Wildfire could be pumped up to 7 at max. Okay, so he's going to start with the Kindle. It's also interesting. He's going to start with the Kindle, and then he's going to try to draw off of it at the end, instead of drawing it off in the middle. Okay, so pitching the red and the blue, he's going to have 1 floating. It's going to Kano. He's going to Ragamuffins here, or he's going to let this Kano resolve. He's going to Deja Vu here, okay? So he's going to Deja Vu here. What he can do is he can banish the Spindle. So this is what he's putting it on. If he draws the blue, he has enough resources to do everything. So he's going to Raga. He's going to put the Blazing on top. He's going to pitch the Kano and banish the Blazing. This Kindle needs to draw blue to pay for everything here. He has 1 resource with the chess piece, 2 resources with the Epot. He's going to use 2 here, Do we have the blue to be able to pay for everything here? Oh, he's starting with the wildfire. Does not look like he drew a blue. This is the combo piece of drawing a red because he doesn't even pump with the Metacarpus node or the Crucible here. Did draw a red off the top. This wildfire only hits for 3, is only dealing 3. The Spindle is going to do 6 damage after the hit. So it'll be 3 plus 6 plus an additional 3 is going to be 12. That's not enough. His opponent is at 19. Can't do anything with the opt. That is so tragic here. Is not going to be enough from Nicholas's side, and he's going to die. Brody with the win in the finals of the calling with Cindra with the beautifully angled theme. So let's do a couple math here just to end it here to what could have happened here. So we go through this to here. So imagine if you got to node, if you do this was a blue, right? We have perfect resource here. This is a blue. We have 2 more resources. We're able to crucible and node here, and this Kindle. This would have done. This would have come in for 7, got him pitch for 1, and prevented. We've done 5. We've done 5 damage here, right? And he started at 28. So he went at 23. He's done 5 damage. He's only 23. Then the Spindle would have came in for 9. Already prevented 1, took 8. So we've been 23, took 8 to 15, and opted 8. But he's done 13 plus an additional 5, and it would have been lethal if he drew the blue, because the blazing would have came in for 18 when Brody was at 15. Now let's think about if he drew a yellow. If he could only buff it by 1. So if he comes in with the Crucible, it's going to come in for 6. Brody's going to prevent 2. He's going to hit for 4. He's going to go down to 24. Then the Spindle is going to deal 7 damage. He's going to prevent it. So he's going to go to 17. So 4 plus 4 plus 7 is going to be 8. 15 would have been enough. So it needed to be a blue, but he didn't have it. Brody with the win in the finals. Congrats to him. Look at the top 8 breakdown here. We got see 2 news, a Viserai, a Cindra Aurora, Kano, another Viserai, and a Kano. Very interesting top 8. But that's going to be the finals of the calling in Memphis. I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.